Attack on Titan doesn't wait to ease you in. It throws you into a world already broken. The cage disguised as salvation. What makes AOT a masterpiece isn't just its animation, brutality, or plot twists. It's the way it weaponizes storytelling to explore humanity at its most fragile and most terrifying. From the very first scene, Hajime Isayama makes a promise. This isn't a story about heroes fighting monsters. It's a story about people trying to survive the truth. At face value, the walls are settings, 3 colossal barriers, Moria, Rose, and Sinner, separating humanity from extinction. But the walls are more than geography. They're psychology. They're the physical manifestations of denial, indoctrination, and generational fear. The people inside don't question their history, because the walls make questioning unnecessary. Safety becomes sedation, tradition becomes truth, and the world outside becomes myth. This is where Eren Yeager is born, not as a savior, but as a contradiction. From childhood, his rage isn't just about titans, it's about the invisible prison that everyone around him accepts. When he screams, "I'm going outside those walls," it's not wanderlust, it's rebellion against inherited belief. He was never meant to be the chosen one. He chooses himself, and that's what makes him dangerous. It's why his eyes always look like they saw the end, before the beginning. The Fall of Wall Moria is one of the greatest opening acts in anime history, because it doesn't just introduce conflict, it shatters the illusion of normalcy. Titans don't break through the gate, they tear through the psyche of a generation. For the first time, humanity confronts a reality that safety was never guaranteed, that their strength was a rumor, that their history was a lie, that their gods were just walls, waiting to fall. And in the rubble, 3 children make 3 oaths that define the philosophy of the entire series. Eren vows to destroy every Titan. Mikasa vows to protect the only world she has left. Armin vows to see the world beyond the walls. These are not mere character motivations, they are ideological cornerstones. They represent revenge, attachment, and imagination, 3 forces that shape the fate of nations. What separates AOT from typical shonen is that it refuses to give you moral comfort. It doesn't just present strength as triumph or suffering as purification. Its survival isn't noble, it's necessary. The Survey Corps aren't heroes, they're the few willing to walk into the truth whilst knowing it will break them. Every expedition beyond the wall is both a battle and an existential awakening. The Titans aren't enemies to be hated, they are symbols of the unknown, the other, the price of ignorance, living consequences of someone else's story. The early arcs show us humanity divided, not by Titans, but by fear and class. The interior lives in denial. The outer districts die in the name of a placeholder called hope. Commander Erwin Smith embodies this paradox better than anyone. He isn't a leader because he believes in justice. He's a leader because he believes that someone has to walk toward the truth, whilst everyone hides away from it. His smile before charging to his death is the moment AOT tells you the truth is worth dying for, even if you never live to see it. Every character in AOT is a question. Every war is an echo. Every death is proof that the world is built on choices made by people who didn't have enough information. So when the basement key appears, that tiny object teased since episode 1, it's not a plot device. It's a metaphor for everything humanity refuses to face. Knowledge buried under blood, under loss, under silence. And that is why Attack on Titan grips viewers so violently. Not because it's shocking, because it reflects our world with horrifying precision. The walls are governments. The Titans are enemies we don't understand. The lies are history rewritten by victors. And the children trying to break the cycle are the only ones still cursed enough to believe in the future. The turning point of Attack on Titan isn't a battle, it's a truth. The basement reveal doesn't just expand the world, it obliterates the very foundation of everything we believed. For years, the people inside the walls saw themselves as the last remnants of humanity. The Titans were monsters, the walls were salvation, the history was absolute. And then, in one moment, all of it collapses. The people of Paradis aren't the last humans, They're Eldians, prisoners of history, children of a bloodline cursed and feared, exiled behind walls, not for protection, but containment. Titans aren't demons, they're Eldians, innocent, weaponized citizens transformed into living punishments. And the enemies weren't born outside the walls, they were created across the sea through propaganda, inherited hatred, and political necessity. This is why AOT is a masterpiece. It dares to make the audience complicit in its illusion, then shatters it without apology. The Marley arc rewrites the entire narrative. Suddenly, the so-called devils of Paradis are no longer faceless threats. They are traumatized children, trained to kill for a country that sees them as disposable. Reiner becomes one of the most tragic characters in anime history. He's not a villain, he is a child soldier who convinced himself of a fake persona just to survive the psychological fracture of his mission. The guilt of destroying Eren's home, killing innocents, and hiding behind lies breaks him so deeply, he begs for death. And that's the genius of Isayama. He doesn't ask whether Reiner is justified. He asks whether anyone forced into an ideology as a child ever has a choice. Falco, Gabi, Pete, Porco, they're not antagonists, they're mirrors. They show us what the people of Paradis could have been if the roles were reversed. The Marley government isn't a Saturday morning villain, it's a political system built on fear, colonialism, and the manipulation of identity. They weaponize Eldians against Eldians, ensuring that the oppressed becomes enforcers of their own oppression. It's not fantasy, it's a reflection of real-world history, ethnic cleansing, propaganda, intimate zones, inherited guilt, cycles of retaliation. And then, Eren walks onto Marley. His transformation isn't a twist, it's the inevitable result of learning the truth in a world built on retribution. The basement didn't save him, it broke him. He no longer wants to kill Titans. He wants to erase the world that forces children into monsters and labeled his people as demons to justify slaughter. When he sits with Falco, quietly pretending to be someone else, we see a chilling maturity. He doesn't hate individuals, he hates the system that produces them. The library attack isn't heroism, it's not villainy, it's the reflection of episode 1 through a reverse lens. The child who lost everything now becomes the terror that shatters someone else's home. And that's the moral violence that AOT unforgettably makes it. It holds up a mirror and says, if you lived his life, would you do it differently? Armin inherits Berthold's colossal titan, and with it, the burden of becoming the thing he once feared. Lisa begins to lose the boy she devoted her life to. Levi watches another generation sink into consequences he already knows too well. And Zeke, the ultimate enigma, embodies betrayal and salvation in the same breath. Every revelation falls back into the central horror of the series. The world didn't create devils, it decided who to call one and who to forgive. The story no longer asks, how does humanity survive the Titans? It asks, what even is humanity when your enemy tells the same story as you do? And that's why the moral structure of Attack on Titan is so brutal and brilliant. Nobody's fully right, nobody's fully wrong, everyone is a product of a system older than them. The cycle isn't the theme, it's the villain. By the time the survey call reaches Marley, they aren't righteous soldiers, they're invaders. The lines become twisted between justice and vengeance. The child who screamed at the sky now stares at it with dead eyes, ready to tear down the horizon itself. Which brings us to the final act, the rumbling, Eren's ideology, the collapse of faith, the structures within the Alliance, and the questions that haunt the entire final series. And that question being, is freedom worth becoming the nightmare you swore to destroy? By the time we reach the final act of Attack on Titan, the story has stopped pretending that freedom is a heroic concept. Because freedom is violent, freedom is selfish, freedom is something that you take, and something that others will always have to pay for. Eren Yeager, the boy who once cried at the sky, becomes the very storm that drowns the world. The rumbling isn't a twist, it's a thesis statement. After learning that his people were never free and that history is marked them for extermination, Eren makes the most horrifying human decision to ensure that his side survives at any cost. He doesn't ask for forgiveness. He doesn't seek glory. He doesn't even lie to his friends, because he knows that the world doesn't give freedom to those who wait for permission. And that's the thematic gut punch of AOT. Eren doesn't become a villain because he's evil. He becomes a villain because the world made victory and morality incompatible. The rumbling is not simply mass destruction. It is narrative judgment. It forces every character and every viewer to confront the cost of inherited hatred. Marley called Eldians devils, and in the end, that prophecy fulfills itself. Not because it's destiny, but because the world cornered a child who chose survival over hope. But the true masterpiece of the final arc lies in the very people who choose to stop him. The alliance of Armin, Miksa, Levi, Reiner, Annie, and Pete isn't a group of heroes. It's a group of survivors who've killed each other's friends, destroyed each other's homes, and now have to work together to prevent the deaths of innocents. That isn't unity, it's necessity. It's the final proof that morality is a weapon sharpened by circumstance. Miksa's final act is perhaps the most poetic and tragic moment in anime history. She doesn't save the world out of hope. She doesn't kill Eren out of hatred. She ends his life because love, in its purest form, sometimes means closing the door that someone else couldn't walk away from. Where she lays his head to rest beneath the tree where it all began, the circle isn't just complete, it's broken and rewritten in silence. And then there's Armin, the boy who dreams of the sea, now carries the weight of genocide and the burden of peace talks he never asked for. He doesn't forgive Eren because it was right. He does it because someone has to live on after the world ends. The finale's genius is its refusal to romanticize resolution. The cycle doesn't end in peace, it ends in mourning. Even after the rumbling, new wars are teased in the future. Hatred doesn't disappear, it mutates. Freedom is granted not through ideals, but through trauma, compromise, and sacrifice that no one will ever fully understand. And that is why Attack on Titan is a masterpiece. Not because it shocks, but because it refuses to lie. It doesn't comfort you with justice or reward, it exposes the machinery of history. The way nations breed enemies, the way children inherit wars, the way identity is weaponized until the world forgets who started it. AOT is political without preaching, philosophical without pretending to have answers, emotional without being sentimental. It isn't about heroes beating evil, it's about how every side becomes the villain in someone else's story. The Titans were never the monsters, they were the mirror. In the end, Attack on Titan leaves us with one final unsettling truth. Humanity doesn't survive because it deserves to. It survives because someone was willing to become unforgivable. And that's why this series will outlive hype cycles, trends, and discourse. It doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what is real. And anime as a medium will be chasing the shadow of what AOT has achieved for decades to come. Thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe, like, all the things to do. Drop in the comments what anime I should do next. And peace.